What's going on, guys? Carventure Squad here again. So today we are replacing the head unit in the 2006 Subaru STI. I went with the ATOTO A6 Pro. I've heard nothing but good reviews about this radio. It's pretty much an Android head unit that can connect to Apple CarPlay and Android CarPlay. So yeah, it's going to be replacing my old crappy one. Plus I want to be able to hook up a subwoofer in my car, and this has RCA inputs and stuff like that for hooking up the subs, and my other radio didn't. And along with this, I bought the wiring harness for my year Subaru. So I will show you guys how to wire up this harness to the harness for the A6 Pro, and I will throw in diagrams and everything like that and show you guys how to hook it up and then install it in the car. Alright guys, I'm going to show you what comes in the box. So got the wiring harness for the radio itself. This is a Wi-Fi antenna that you hook up to the back of the radio so you can install applications and stuff like that to it. You have brackets for the radio. This is external microphone. GPS has built-in navigation in the system, so it helps a lot when you're going on road trips. And we have quick charge feature, cable that you hook up to the back, and you can run it wherever you want in your car to quickly charge your phones. Manual. Got a little space filler. It's really only if you have like a single DIN car and you try and throw a double DIN in and you run out of space, or you have a gap of space in your car and you just throw that in, it creates more space, so you don't have a lot of empty space in there. It comes with 2 screen protectors and Japanese warranty instructions. And if we go to the real show, get rid of the box. So this is the ATOTO. Touchscreen has all your hard buttons down here at the bottom. Volume down, volume up, reverse, skip forward, home button, power button. Has an aux, SD port, a USB port, hard reset, and then it does have a microphone on the top. What I also like is they throw the wiring diagram right here on this panel, and I'll take a close-up picture for this when we start wiring, so you guys know exactly what to wire in your Subaru. But it does have a lot of different jacks. It has like the subwoofer jacks. It has jacks for reverse cameras, a front camera, and all that good stuff. So, alright, there it is. Let's get to wiring. Alright guys, so we're into the wiring portion. So on the ATOTO A6, it has all the colors for the wiring harness, and they're also labeled on the wiring harness exactly what they are. Like this pink one's the rear camera positive, and then the gray one's the front right positive or negative. So it's all labeled on that, but also tells you what they are. On the head unit itself. I'll take a close-up picture of this and then I'll pause it in the video for you guys so you can see it. And then also, if you're installing on a different vehicle other than like a 2006 Subaru Impreza STI. I don't know if this will work on your car. It does say that's a 1993 and up Subaru Power 4-speaker connector harness, but it has everything from like the remote wire to connect subwoofers and everything like that to every single speaker that you need on here. This also tells you the color, what the color means, and pretty much what you're doing when you're wiring up is you're matching these colors on both harnesses and what they mean. So you're gonna connect a white on this harness, which is the left front positive, and then a white on this harness, which is also the front left positive. So you want to do that until you get all your speakers done and everything else that you need to hook up. Like if you're doing a reverse camera, there's a wire for a reverse camera. If you're doing subwoofers, there's a blue remote wire that you're gonna need to hook up. And then you're gonna need to throw your RCAs in the back of this. But yeah, I'm gonna get some of this wired up and then I'll let you guys know how it's going. Alright guys, so we got all the wires crimped off. I ended up using these male and female tabs just to make it super easy if I'm ever like uninstalling this radio and reinstalling it. Everything that I'm going to be using a rear view camera and an amp because I'm going to be hooking up subs. So I got those wired in. It is against the law if you do watch videos while driving in a car, but if you want to or have a passenger with you and you are paying attention to the road, to bypass being able to drive and watch videos, you're gonna have to hardwire your parking brake to your ground, and that's what I did here. And I'm not gonna use a connector for that. I'm gonna use a heat gun, some shrink wrap, so those guys are like hardwired together because the ground's pretty important when it comes to your radio. All the speakers are hooked up, and the stuff that I'm not going to be using, I'm just going to cap off with some shrink wrap. I'm not going to be using the steering wheel key or this steering wheel key or the dimmer. So, but yeah, other than that, all they did, these are the connectors that I used. I believe this is the female, and this is the male. I just got those at Home Depot and used these to crimp them onto the wire. I have to strip the wires even though they're already stripped anyways, but if I needed a little bit more then I would cut them back a little bit. But yeah, harnesses are pretty much done. So I am just gonna hardwire that ground and parking brake to the ground on this one and cap off the rest of the ones that I don't need, and we will be in the car hooking up the radio. Alright guys, we're inside the car. So this is the head unit that we're taking out. So to get the head unit out of this bezel, if you got a manual, you just pull this back and up. It's just on by a couple clips, so you just pull it back and up, and there's 1, 2 that holds this bezel in, this whole big bezel right here. And then once I get that off, I'll be right back. Okay, got the bezel out. I'm just letting it hang over to the side. So there's gonna be 4 bolts. I only got 3. They're all Phillips heads. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the head unit should pop right out. And just a side note guys, when you're starting to do wiring and stuff like this inside your car, always like disconnect the negative or the positive off your battery. I just did that before I even got the bezels off, so just a safety precaution. Don't want to ruin anything in your nice car. Okay, be right back. Okay guys, got the radio out right here. So there's an antenna wire. It's got to come out. There's the harness that has to come out, and any additional things. There's like this USB plug in here because there's a fast charger in here. So since I bought that harness that is like specifically made for my make and model, I can just disconnect the harnesses right here. And if you didn't do that, you'd have to splice into your factory wiring harness right here. Alright guys, I know this looks like a complete mess, but it's not. I swear it's organized. Alright, so I am hooking up subwoofers. So I got my RCAs routed through underneath the dash. I do have a rear view camera that I'm hooking up. I got that hooked up, as long as also with the male connector, got that hooked up to the rear camera positive. I got my amplifier turn on positive connected also, and these are all ran along this side right here, and I'm gonna run it along the plastic trim down all the way to the back. Just a side note, if you guys are doing subwoofers, you're gonna want to keep the remote turn on and everything like that on one side of the car, and then you got your big old power wire that you're gonna want to put on the right side of the car, or on the opposite side of the car, just so there's not any like noise. That's what they call it, speakers. So yeah, that's pretty much the update for now. Once I get everything hooked up and like that, I will show you a review of the head unit. I'll go through some of the apps and everything like that. I do have to hook up the GPS connector and the Wi-Fi antenna also. The Wi-Fi antenna I'm gonna put in the glove box. There's like some 3M tape on it, so it'll just hook up right there. And then GPS antenna you can just put like in the back, just like 3M it to the back, and it should be fine. And they're usually pretty good satellite detectors. So all right guys, also I got the bracket from my other head unit to work on this, and it lines up perfect, which is awesome. So cool. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. All right guys, got everything wired, looking pretty under there, the Wi-Fi and everything. Let's see if this bad boy powers up. Boom, just like that. Oh, speakers are working. Turn that down. It's cool. Man, there's really bad glare. Sorry guys, but this is like the home screen. Switch in between. Huh. Cool. Alright, well I'm gonna finish buttoning everything up, finish the subwoofers and the rear view camera, and then I'll come back, put the bezels back on, and show you what it looks like then. Alright guys, if you're like me and also installing subs and rear view camera when you replace your radio, so what I did, ran it underneath the dash around this little kick panel, and I'm gonna tuck it underneath all this trim, underneath the trim here. I'm gonna go to the back door. It's gonna go underneath this trim, and I'm gonna fish it up through the rear seat. It's gonna go into the trunk, and that's where my sub box is gonna be, and then that'll be really close to the rear view camera. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be tucking these wires, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, got the rear seat out. I believe there are two 10 mils or 12 millimeter socket. It's just two right there, and then it's latched on in the back. You just gotta lift it up and pull it out. So I did that. Got all the cables routed right here, and you may want to get yourself, like, I don't know if you can see that, it's a clothes hanger undone, and basically you put the tips of the wires right up at the top and you tape them, and then I'll be able to shove it underneath the seat and get it back there without having, to need help from someone else. So you can just do it by yourself. But yeah, I'll be doing that, and then I got to start with the power wire, the red wire on the other side, and I'm gonna go through the firewall. There should be a couple pressure holes that or underneath the dash. I could run the wire through, and then I gotta run it to the battery. All right, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I believe I got the camera all wired up. So I got the wires tucked underneath the seat. Have the camera mounted right there. It goes behind the license plate. The wires go through the bumper, through a little grommet down here, and then come up. I have the positive attached to my positive reverse light to give power to it. And then the ground is also right here. I grounded it to a pre-existing ground. And that should be it for the reverse light install. So I will tuck this wire away and make it look pretty, and then I'll go let you guys know if it works. Alright, guys. Alright, moment of truth. I'm gonna put the STI into reverse. Down and over. Oh, look at that! It worked! Sweet! I got a reverse cam, so there's my rear seat right there. I'm gonna have to adjust it a little bit, you know, angle the lines down and everything like that, but sweet. So glad that's working. Alright, on to the next thing. Finishing up the subwoofer. Sweet, we'll be right back. Alright, guys, so it's the next day here. Got pretty dark on me last night when I was finishing up everything, but I want to show you guys the layout of this ATOTO A6. I got to play with it a little bit yesterday. Got my subwoofers hooked up and everything like that, and the rear view camera. So, I mean, it's got this screen that has all the apps on it. So it does have the Wi-Fi cable, so I can go on the internet. There's YouTube, Google Maps, there's also the GPS. I mean, what else? Let's see here. There's YouTube, like I was saying. You could download stuff to it. Connects via Bluetooth. There we go. It's got Pandora. You can go to your email, which, I mean, I don't know, checking your email in the car. It also has this really cool feature. I mean, I don't need it because I have my access port and I could see all my codes and stuff on there if they pop up. But this torque app, if you buy a Bluetooth OBD2 sensor and plug it in, it'll automatically connect, and it'll show you the codes, like the real-time data, all your like it'll show you your RPMs and all that stuff, and just like basic stuff that a sensor would show you, which is really cool. Kind of glad they have that on there. So for the main like music streaming things, you got like Spotify, Pandora. You can open up your own music. You could put a SD card in here, which you could play your own music through also. And also on this head unit, since it connects through your phone, you can make phone calls and stuff like that. And it works. I've already tried. I called my buddy that's literally sitting inside. Just want to make sure it works. This external microphone right here, it's like right up here in the top corner. It works pretty good. So if you don't want to use the one that's wired and wire it somewheres up through the car, should be no problem. Yeah, so I mean, overall this head unit is pretty good. I like it. So it's got a lot of features that I gotta kind of mess around with and, you know, get used to and figure out what they all do. But it boots up in like 2 seconds because it has like a backup battery in it, I believe. So when you're running the car, it charges the battery that's inside the radio, and then you can shut your car off. And overnight, I just came back in, started up my car, and it was already up and running in like 2 seconds flat. Plan on doing a review on this maybe like 3 or 4 months, just to give you guys a summary of what I think about it. So far, it's really good radio. everything hooked up really easily. All the wiring was really nice, clean, fits in the dash pretty good. So no complaints so far. And give me 1 second, I'll show you how I hooked up the sub. So here's the subwoofer setup. Got the RCA's in here, remote wires back there, also the ground I have hooked up right down here. I need to do a little bit of wire management with this carpet. Power cables ran all the way to the front. I'll show you guys. So I got a ran through one of the grommets over there, goes along, right over here, comes down to the fuse, hooks right up to the battery.